topics burn faster than your split. I am your host, Mad Trinity, alongside.
It's your girl Empress Davy, y'all. What's up? Welcome back to a new episode.
They're gonna think something wrong with us, but why we laughing and we just started?
What you mean? We always laughing. It don't matter if we start, we end, we in between.
Sorry.
So on today, let's talk about some controversy. Some controversial shit.
It's coming.
Religion in this bitch.
I'm gonna
So-
start like that. I don't care what y'all.
Wow. You thuggish bone right now, huh?
When they come for me, I know they're gonna come for me, so I'm just gonna protect myself in the head.
I bet. I understand. But yes, y'all, we talk about religion, our perspectives, our opinions. You are entitled to yours.
Yeah.
No hate mail. Don't drop no negative DMs. Don't do none of that, okay? As respectfully.
Respect our opinions.
Absolutely.
Opinions and not facts.
Correctamundo.
I'm gonna find a way if you're a partial Christian.
So anyways, let's get into it because it's about to be spicy.
Period. Ain't that how you say it? When you say period or what?
No tampon.
Disgusting ass shit. We out of here. With people, especially people of faith, when they can't answer your questions, instead of finding the answer or sending me in the direction of the answer, they get frustrated. Oh, you're an atheist. You don't believe in God. It's not that I don't believe in God.
In the
Like,
handbasket. I mean,
you
we
know
was
what I
doing
mean?
that regardless.
It's not that I don't believe in God or I don't believe in your faith. It's nothing like that. But it has to make sense to me. You're not gonna just tell me, "Hey, believe in this," and I'm gonna just do it. I'm a grown man
Yeah,
now.
you want to do your own research.
Right.
Research, exactly.
If it feels for
thank
you.
you.
Maybe you're Muslim. Maybe that works better for you.
It's that simple.
You don't need to push. Listen, my
Don't push nobody's narrative on you.
my
Like,
goddamn beef with religion is specifically Christianity.
it's specifically.
There are fake Christians or people who claim to be Christian.
Oh.
Y'all read the goddamn Bible and you over here first things first. Specifically.
Let me tell you something. Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
The biggest thing I hate about Christians, right, is they're conveniently Christian.
They're Christian when it's
They're
convenient.
conveniently
And it's
Christian.
sickening. It's sickening.
Oh.
And I grew up I did Catholic. I was at the Catholic Church as a very young age, then Protestant, then full Christian. I've been there, seen it all. And I can tell you a lot of people are goddamn hypocrites, especially in the Caribbean community. Because you know how many times I have gone to church and I hear people talk under their breath about other people.
Yes.
And then in the
Most
same sermon,
judgmental.
in the same sermon, the pastor over here, we are not God, so who are we to judge?
Amen. Praise the Lord.
And they're, yes, God, yes, Lord, yes, Father, Father.
Yo.
That's how they are. And then in the same breath, they
Preach.
go in there call you, oh God, you hear Shelly Ann, she go and be with the next man and have two other.
You hear the pastor was touching on Sister Alicia
Do
and
that. You hear Keisha bullying the pastor?
oh God.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is.
Why you had to call that name?
But that's how good it is. Tell me I'm lying.
No, you're not lying.
It's facts, though.
But okay, so I actually had this conversation earlier today. We're gonna do our introduction later.
Honestly, yeah, we can do it later.
Yeah.
I'll fix that.
I had a conversation today with somebody that, like, I was asking them, are they religious? Like, are you religious or are you spiritual? Because there's a difference, right? I feel like for me, I'm both. I'm more on the spiritual level, but I still believe in religion, in Christianity for me, because I take what I take from not from a human. I take what I take from what I've read, right? But what I was talking about is going to certain churches, certain genres of Christianity. I don't even know if that's it's branch, whatever, right? Like Pentecostal. Y'all over there speaking in tongues because you claim to be possessed or taken over by the Spirit. How do I know what you're saying? How do I know that? And what makes that different from a bruja, right? Like chanting a spell. What makes it? How do I know? Because a bruja will speak it in whatever language.
No,
100% correct.
yes. However, the whole speaking in tongues thing, that's actually a cultural thing. It comes from like specific cultural ties.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, here we go.
Africa.
Here's a fun fact.
Okay.
Back to slavery. Isn't everything just so back to that slavery?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, a lot of slaves they would kind of go into that whole speaking tongues, but and you know, a lot of them are descendant of Yoruba and
Mhm.
the whole like culture, so you know, a lot of Obia and stuff of that
Yeah.
sense. Realistically, if you actually look into, you know, what that is even all about, they believe in God, the same Christian God. They just believe that he got workers that they also rock with. So they prefer to be like pretty much his angels in a way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They have their own gods underneath the God.
Right.
So they kind of with that, you know, you're coming from Africa, and then when you get here, they're just like, okay, whatever you have, you're Christian. So they
Mhm.
kind of use what they already took home, from what they grew up with back in the village. They kind of mesh that to Christianity. And especially after we were freed, you know, after the slave trade stopped and all that stuff, when they could open their own churches and have their own services, a lot of that was very heavily ingrained. And it kind of just seeped out, specifically though, you see that in the South. You tend to see
Yeah.
people speaking in tongues in the South most of the time.
Well, so my first experience was in New York,
Mhm.
right? And I mean, granted, I grew up in church, right? I was believe it or not, I was actually a Sunday school teacher at one point. Sir.
Wow.
Anywho, sir.
I mean, people change. People change.
That's not a good thing to say. It's like, yeah, I used to be in the church. Yeah, people change.
I mean, I was a Sunday school teacher in my younger years.
Okay.
Oh, you're married, girl.
Yeah. So, anywho, like when I first started like going to church, because I'm the type of person, there's a vibe that I'm looking for,
Yeah.
right? There's a feeling that I'm looking for. So, of course, when you're younger, you're not really paying attention to the spiritual side of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, I'm a Christian, I'm gonna go to church.
Right. Your parents told you.
Yeah. And you don't know, at that point, you don't know the difference between Baptist, Pentecostal, Catholic. Like, you don't really know that. My first encounters with a Pentecostal church, bro, I nearly ran out the door when I heard them speaking in tongues. So I'm like, are you possessed? Like, I was young, so I wasn't introduced to that.
Right. Imagine going to an Orthodox church because they're very like, what's the word? They're very like, they like to do like ceremonies and things like that. And they
Really?
like, dark
Oh,
so a lot of
wow.
people tend to be like, oh, like this is
Yeah.
and this and that.
But then also, like, when they lay hands, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know about laying hands.
I've seen it.
Okay. How am I laying hands? I'm basically pushing you down on the ground. Why? Why we so violent in this church?
Why are we so violent, guys? I thought this was about love. Why y'all swinging on each
Right. Like,
If somebody wanted me to be a Christian
yeah.
or any part of Christianity, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's time to do it what it would have been while I was a younger youth.
To bring you up in it.
Now-
Yeah.
now
You
that
got
I'm
sense
grown
now.
And I have the availability of reading and looking into my, like, me personally, I feel like it's just a bunch of contradicting BS.
Mm-hmm.
And then seeing the people that carry on Christianity
Yeah.
Right.
confirm
Right.
contradicting BS.
I think a lot of people are turned away from
Yes.
Christianity.
Because of the leadership.
Yes, and I don't think
Mhm.
it's because of the actual book. Because I know people who they've read the Bible and they're like, yeah,
Mhm.
this is actually really good. I
Mhm.
enjoyed it. Like they read it like it was a regular book. They're like, yeah, I actually really did enjoy this. It has a lot of really good lessons. I could see why people would want to follow this as like a code of conduct for their life.
Right.
But then they go to church, and then they see how people talk, and they see
go
what
to
people do.
Christian. Let me not even just say that.
I was going to say, because it's not only Christian
Yeah, it's
church.
everybody.
All right, so me personally, I don't even the whole religion. We're gonna leave it alone. There are people of faith that actually live by. Y'all seen that movie that came out on Netflix?
Yes.
What's the name of it?
The one about the boy, the one you was talking about.
Yes.
You posted. Yeah. I don't remember what the name of it is.
Anyway,
Hold
it's
on.
it's a
Yeah, keep talking.
movie about a Christian man,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a group of Christian men
Yes.
that raise up in a community, bringing up younger Christian men
Yes.
to do right, to grow as a man, to carry themselves as a man, and that I've yet to find a community of specifically men,
Mm-hmm.
not to just say a community like that, but a community of specifically men that carry themselves as such.
Right.
You know what I mean? Me personally, I have one man in my life that I look up to as far as a man, and we all know him.
Yeah.
And that is the only man of my life
Dang, what was it called?
that I can look up to, and that's crazy. But I know a lot of Christians.
That'll tell you something, right?
Right.
That'll tell you something, right?
You know what I mean? Because
But there.
truth be told,
Mhm.
half of the dudes I know, like when I say Christian man, I'm talking about a man that lives by God, has his faith by God,
Right.
treats his woman as such.
Right.
carries
Right.
his family.
Correct. Absolutely. Yes.
Passionate, powerful.
Well, the true definition of a Christian, not what has been misinterpreted, misconstrued,
Interpretation,
Yes.
I think, and it's not, and it's because of really weird and gross people. I'm just gonna say.
Yes.
The reason why we have so many cults is because of religion. Listen.
She had to swallow. She had to swallow her words. She about to go in.
No, I'm gonna say it. The reason
Was
why
it the
we
man
have
of God?
is because people
The Forge. It was The Forge. The Forge. If you have, and we're not getting paid for this, but Netflix, I mean, if you want to, cut us a check. But The Forge was an absolute, first of all, it was a tearjerker because it's relatable to people who have grown up like with hardships,
Right.
in other words, right? Great, like, lesson, great, like, inspiration. Like, if we based Christianity on that movie, things would be a lot better.
It was a great movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a lot of positive black male role model
Yes.
movies that come out like that.
Yes.
Not only was he a good model, like he was a true Christian, you know what I mean? He knew how to emotionally intelligent, like he carried himself like a man should, in my opinion.
Yes.
You feel me? And he was a role model and he brought up others as such. You know what I mean? They showed in the movie how he maintained his emotions, spoke with, you know what I mean? Like he just carried himself different.
Yo, you made me want to go home and watch it again.
No, but
You
truthfully,
see that?
like,
It's just like, dang,
Yeah.
why is that not the reality?
But,
Why
like,
is that not?
seriously.
Why is that not widespread? Especially
So,
when people claim to be Christians.
that's what I'm saying.
and I
made a
know.
post as soon as I seen
Yeah,
it.
yeah, you did. That's why I knew what you were
Because I
talking
was like,
about.
yo, listen, if I find a circle like that, because in all reality, I don't have,
A huge circle like that.
you know,
Yeah.
I know dudes that claim to be that, and then I got home girls that their dudes claim, and I just leave them be. Like, if you realize I'm not close to your man, it's because, yeah, I'm just not gonna tell you that.
So
You feel me?
the thing also that I've heard a lot over the years of talking to people about religion is like we have these Christian leaders that y'all really defame what Christianity is supposed to be. Like why y'all out there touching on little boys?
because they have power. That's what it is. This is with religion. It's easy for people to get power in religious communities because all you have to do is say Jesus spoke to me.
Exactly,
I'm the
right.
new Messiah.
I got a new message. I get
I have a
messages.
message, and it's gonna be easy for people to believe, especially in times where things are like right now.
Rough.
When
Yeah.
things are scary, when everything else is uncertain, and there's one person who's out here saying that
Yes.
they're on something, a lot of people cling to that. A lot
Yeah.
of people, it gives them comfort. So it's very easy for a lot of people to get in these positions of power, and that's why you see a lot of. What's that dude's name? The one with the mega churches, Joe Osteen, is that his name?
Mr. Fate.
Yeah, no, my aunt loves him, and she's a diehard Christian.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you and tell you that I don't read his prayers every day, but
it's just like you have mega churches, you have all these cars, you have all this stuff. All that money could have gone to salvation.
ain't that TD Jakes the same thing happening
Why
there?
would that money not go? Jesus would never. Y'all ever read it?
Like, again, The Forge, the movie. Please
Go watch it. Yeah.
Faith is not. There should be no leadership position in faith, because if you're a person of faith, there's no way you could be so high up and have people so under you, and you're not trying to bring them up.
Right.
You know what I mean? But again, The Forge. Go.
Listen,
The movie
for real,
there's a lot
I'm seriously gonna go watch it again.
No,
I'm
outside of faith.
Yeah.
It's just crazy that because it seems like that movie. It's a very good example. These people they're taking the Bible and they're taking the interpretations of the Bible what it's meant to be.
Correct.
Not just
Correct.
Well,
because
I'm just saying because you say if they're Christian, that's
he
usually what
was-
they
yeah, he
base.
was a-
It's like your spirituality
Right,
too,
it's
like your
it's
faith,
a
like
baseline, and then of course they build
correct.
their own
Yeah,
morality.
Right.
they showed if you
Right.
lead by action, others' actions is gonna, like, for instance, he was a CEO of a company about to lose his whole company. They all worked 24 hours on
Yeah.
the clock to make sure he didn't lose his company. He didn't even know about it. Like, when you lead by your actions in everything in life, period. I'm learning that myself. Like, I switch up how I deal with my son now because
hmm
I realize he follows more what I do than what I say.
But that's what it's supposed to be. You're supposed to lead by example in life, period. Don't matter what religion, it doesn't matter what stature, what status. You're supposed to lead by example.
Agreed. So then why do people follow pastors?
Ciao.
So I can understand why some people have pastors because they feel as if some people are having a hard time with interpretation of the Bible, or they have already interpreted the Bible, but they just like to have somebody who is able to
Kind of
take
reinforce.
pretty much their words and put it into their thoughts and put it into words.
So there's actually a Bible that I own
I was
that
about to say, because you don't have to read that old.
yeah, there's a Bible that I own that actually speaks our language. Like
Right.
speaks it in English that someone like me, I always struggled with that, right? Because that's why and I'm gonna be real, like that's why I never read the Bible because half of it I can't comprehend. When I found this Bible, I was like, if you look at my Bible, I have all these tabs, highlights, I got notes on the side. Like, that's the kind of relationship I wanted to have with my Bible, and I couldn't do that, right?
That's what I suggest people do because.
But I
at
mean,
the
they
end of
didn't
the
have
day-
those back in the day. That's why.
Right, right.
Because they didn't have that.
That's why I feel like
And-
pastors got so big because at the end of the day, the Bible is just how you interpret it.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Because you can have 7 different Bibles, 7
Mm-hmm.
different pastors, and they can all tell you that this passage means something else.
Listen,
to them.
hold on. And it's not all pastors are bad. Let's be real.
No,
Not all
actually,
pastors
Okay, so
are bad.
I truly enjoy. He's from Trinidad.
I'm sorry.
I rock with him.
I'm sorry. Any pastor that went to school to get a degree is fake.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Yeah, because you have to be taught at that
I'm about
point.
to say, homeboy, the
If
dude
you're-
that I follow, he
if-
grew up in Laventille and just got his life
if
together.
you're a pastor where you're just reading the Bible and you're giving word and people decide to follow you, congratulations, more power to you. I support that. If you're a pastor that went to college or went somewhere and got a degree so you can go and be a pastor and get paid,
I want to show you something. We obviously all grew up on what the King James version, right?
I'm not a fan of that.
Look at all of these different translations that we now have.
that's crazy.
Look at that's up to L. Look how much translations we have for the Bible. So you can't use the excuse that there's not a Bible that you can understand. It's out there. The version is out there. And it's just about taking the time to read it and stop relying on man.
I'm just not a fan specifically of the King James version because when I was
yeah.
a very young kid, like I mean, I was probably like 8,
Yeah.
sitting in church, and they're preaching the King James Bible. I'm sitting there, I'm just like, well, wait a minute, something about that seems off. I'm just thinking, like, at a young age, because I mean, when you're a kid, you always, especially when you're already like at the why phase, and you're already trying to figure out
Right. Why everything? Yeah.
So then you start to question, especially if you grew up in the church, you question religion. You question.
Yeah.
It's kind of just a rite of passage.
Right.
And usually at that point, it's like it splits into 2 roads. It either makes you more religious or it takes you away.
Right. 100%.
And I learned in my history. Well, I've taken many history classes. I'm a nerd. But in a lot of world history classes, they teach the Bible. They teach about the Bible and how it was translated because of how much of an impact it's had on our history. So with the King James version, I believe my professor said that before it was translated to English, it was translated to Greek, then back to Hebrew,
Yep.
then translated again to Greek, or no, not to Greek, to Latin after that translation, and then translated to English. So it's the most heavily translated version, as well as King James himself went through that Bible and he said,
That's what I'm saying, man. Yeah.
I'm gonna add my
Yeah.
to this.
Yep. And that's why they say the Bible is written by man, and there's a lot of pieces to that Bible that are missing
Listen,
that weren't in the original.
this is, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be real with y'all, and this might be a little controversial, a little spicy, call it what you call it,
Yeah.
but in the original version of the Bible, I do not believe it goes against homosexuality, and here's why I'm gonna tell you this, because listen,
Hold on, let her finish. I want to hear her.
hear me.
I'm hearing you. Go ahead.
Just hear me, please.
So, in the original Hebrew to English translation of the Bible, it says, "Man shall not lie with apprentice," not man. It was only changed to man when it went to the King James Version. Apprentice at that time means young boys, like children.
Yeah.
Meaning, don't be a pedophile. But they took that out of the Bible. And I'm so serious, you can look this up. Like,
I'm actually
look it
going
up
to.
right now. It says, in the original version, it says, "Man shall not lie with apprentice." Because at the time, young boys would be apprentices, so usually ranging from the ages of like 8 to 12. And then it just changed to "Man shall not lie with man." And I just think that's very interesting to me because, and I've spoken to people who've learned Hebrew to get the original Hebrew version. That's why when they hear about homosexuality, they take it with like a grain of salt because they're usually just like, anyways, it's not my place to judge. Anyways, I'm not God, so who am I to judge? Love that neighbor, da 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 da. But that just rubbed me the wrong way. It rubs me the wrong way because the thing is, we see so many of these pastors.
Wait a minute.
We see so many of these pastors get arrested for touching kids and stuff like that. So it just rubs me the wrong way because I'm just like, well, wait a damn minute. Why was that removed from the Bible and y'all changed it to "Man shall not lie with man"?
My whole thing is, I don't understand what makes people put so much faith in pastors.
In men.
Especially a
Right.
pastor that went to school. Like, he went to school to get education on the Bible, and now all of a sudden you worship him? Like, how does it make sense?
It's just weird.
You know what I mean? And then you walk around saying, well, pastor said this and pastor said that and
Right.
pastor said this. What did this man do to qualify for you to worship him?
Y'all ever
Some
seen
of y'all
the-
have men in y'all lives that y'all don't even worship, and these men provide for you, take care of you, raise you, and you don't even worship them like that. But
Right.
this man that's reading a book that you could read just like any other man,
Right.
you worship.
And it's crazy because that's instantly a sin because why you're not supposed to have idols.
Worship.
You're supposed to
Exactly. You're not
That's-
supposed to
you're
worship
committing
idols.
sin by worshiping somebody.
Exactly.
So that just tells you that you haven't read the book.
And then what makes it worse to me is that you worship these pastors that drive to this church.
In a Rolls Royce, living in
2078.
living in a mansion.
And you breaking your pockets to give the church.
So let's talk about
Oh
that.
gosh,
Let's talk about that because that was another conversation I had today.
Please talk about that.
Like, it doesn't
So
make sense.
I had somebody that from my past that used to say, "Why do I have to pay to go to church?" Right? Which is, why do I have to give you an offering? Why do you? And my biggest turn off in churches, and it actually became a joke between my friends and I, is how many times you sending that offering plate around. Like,
in one service.
yo,
That's
I
the second service of the day too.
girl, because you know they got different time slots. Some churches got 3, 2 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, right? So not only that, but all right, I love my church, don't get me wrong, but I'm gonna say what the hell I gotta say. Sorry, guys. I go to somewhat of a mega church. You busy telling me about burn your mortgage because you want your congregation to pay off your mortgage for the church. Are you turning back and helping me pay off mine?
No.
Y'all keep preaching about, oh, if I get a 500 people to donate $500. Do you know how many people are actually struggling? And I'm not going to say that they don't give back, right? Because my church has a pantry. They do.
Don't give back in the capacity that they should give
That
back.
Exactly.
Correct.
Like, how is it that you can have tailored suits and tailored dresses and, you know, your hair always done and
I know those are from Men's Warehouse.
you feel me?
Ain't no way.
You taking your clothes to get dry clean while the rest of us is washing in the washing machine and gotta make the pleats ourselves. Like, we gotta do better. Like,
Listen, I had
we gotta do better.
that kind of enlightened me and turned me off from churches for a very long time.
Yeah.
And so my uncle, my mom's brother, they have different mothers, but we were very close with his mother, and she passed away. We were very, very close, called her grandma, everything.
Mm-hmm.
She passed away. We're at the service. Everybody's in tears. You know, it's rough. And then the pastor comes up, and he starts talking about her, and he's like, she gave so much money to the church, and she gave us so much, and he just talked about how much money she gave.
And let me ask you a question. Did he donate his church for her to do her funeral? I didn't think so.
This is my thing. It's like I'm sitting there, and literally right when he started saying that, I'm next to my sister, and I poke her, and she's like, "Girl," and I turn and we look at my mom, and she's like, eyes open, just like, "What?" Because we were so like, "Are you kidding me? It's her funeral, and you're over here talking about." He's like, "Yeah, she just gave so much. She gave so much. She was just so giving, and you know, she made sure to always give us, you know, donations and this and that." Like, he didn't talk about how kind she was. He didn't talk
What a
about
sweet soul she
all
was.
the friends that she
Right.
made at church.
Right.
He didn't talk about any of those things. He just talked about how much she gave.
And it's sickening, right? It's sickening because, granted, like I said, some churches, like my church, they do give back. They have a pantry where, you know, they have a pantry where people can come get food. They also, the point of burning the mortgage is so that they can build on the land, build apartments and stuff so they can house people. Cool, no problem, right? I don't need to hear you about how much acres of land y'all got. You get what I'm saying? In a church service, I got to hear about your 15 acres.
Listen, right? Listen. No disrespect to your church, right?
Not at all.
I'm going to do basic math. Any mega church has what? Let's say 100, 200?
250.
So mega
All right.
churches will have to be.
So let's
250 or better.
Let's say a mega church has 250 people, right?
Or better. But
Or
yeah.
better. They have multiple services each service, right? So let's really talk money here. If so much people are giving you money every week, multiple services a week, shouldn't you be doing more? Shouldn't you be doing
And
more?
then tithing is supposed to be 10%,
But
right?
Not only that, the way I see it, right? There's no way in God's earth, as a man, especially a man that's being taken care of by people, am I driving into a place with a Bentley, living in a mansion, and there's people probably coming to my same church to worship me that can't afford to put food on the table. So let's
And there we
talk
go.
about giving back. Okay, you're a mega church. Okay, you have a pantry. Cool. Okay, you feed people. Cool. But you're a mega church making millions of dollars. You know how I know you're making it? Because you're driving to work in it. You're living in it. Your kids living in it.
About
Your
to say,
wife
your
living in
kids,
it.
yeah.
The jewelry y'all wear. So you're making all this money off of these people and you're living by faith, but you're making all this money go into your castle and then you're coming back to work begging for people that's living in apartments for money so you can go back to your castle.
This is what I don't understand. That's why I'm saying give back to your own congregation.
It makes sense. If you're getting that kind of money, why are you living in a mansion? Why are you in a ready built apartment for people to live in?
Thank you.
Why that ain't happened already? Why you got a mansion
Why you
before they got that?
right, They over here paying for this, paying for that.
You know what I mean? Why you got a Bentley before they got that? If you such a man of faith, why do you have to have all that before the people that's providing for you can get something?
It goes back to empathy.
Yeah. So I told you I don't talk politics, right? So a couple weeks ago they had Law Enforcement Day. We had our mayor and his wife. The way let me tell you, I didn't even make it past an hour. I had to leave because I don't want to hear about how much the pastor has done for you. And then you start preaching. It's a wrap. I'm out. Like, you as a politician should not be preaching at my church. I'm sorry. You shouldn't.
Christians use church as a pawn.
They do. Absolutely.
Churches use politicians as the same thing.
Correct.
Exactly.
And let's be real. And I had that conversation. Yo, I had this conversation for real today. Like,
Not just because.
but here's the thing, right? Churches get a tax break. They get a tax write-off.
Yes, they do.
Okay? Y'all get discounts at a lot of things and places.
Especially land and property.
Thank you. So why you are getting extra on top of the extra that you're getting? Y'all need to really do. You really do need to be doing more.
It don't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I just want it to logically make sense. And what irritates me is that these pastors and all these people, it's mostly people of higher age. I don't want to say old people, but
Yeah.
higher age.
Elders,
They
like
was
elders.
raised and beat to go to church to believe.
Yes.
To go to church to
Yes.
believe. And they try to beat that onto the
Yes, the younger generations.
generation.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the generations after them are just asking why.
Honestly.
And they can't answer it.
Daryl, I'm listening to you talking. It don't sound like you got beef with religion. You got beef with like the church.
I know I got beef with the people of the church. I got
Correct.
People of like of said religion.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because
that's what I'm
my
saying,
whole
like,
thing.
But that's what I said earlier.
I have no problem with religion. But what I have a problem with is that when I question it, when I try to get logic and understanding behind it, instead of giving me that logic or just standing on what you say, it's a problem. And my whole thing is
Because the Bible says so.
questioning
Yeah,
God.
most people that
Because the Bible says so.
Question Christ in this
Right,
is
right.
not
The
Christ.
church, you don't question the church.
You're
Right.
like,
So it's funny, right? Because I just got a thought. So the same person you mentioned earlier, right? I forgot if it was a hurricane or something had happened.
yes, in Texas. Right?
Yes, or the shooting or something had happened. He refused to open his church doors to be a shelter for people.
Y'all was surprised?
Because the people didn't have home after because it was insane.
I forgot what it was. If it was some kind of natural
Yeah,
disaster.
it was a hurricane and people didn't get.
You're
Their
not about
houses
to
got
mess up
flooded
his-
and he didn't let them in.
You're not about to mess up his money for people. If his church get messed up or his church get filled, how he gonna make his money?
When I heard that, I was so disappointed. Not that I'm surprised, but I'm just saying, these are the people that make y'all rich.
But my question is, after you see a pastor
Right.
of faith
Right.
do something like that, how do
Right.
you support that?
You're right.
And then
100%.
say, I support him in faith. I support him in God. How? This man, people had no homes. People had nowhere to go. This man has a perfectly fine building that could have homed some of these people and put a roof over their head.
Let's talk about TD Jakes.
How do you?
Go ahead. First, we'll go there, and then we'll talk here. Go
No,
ahead.
I'm just saying. How do we differentiate like just a basic religion from a cult? Because like I'm not gonna hold you. It's very cultish.
Some churches are very cultish. Some churches are.
It has mad
Why are
money.
we saying
People
some?
are
I'm
people
sorry,
are
y'all. I'm sorry.
people are suffering. He has mad money. Sometimes they'll have people living in compounds.
Yes.
Together.
Yep.
Like that's just a cult. Like I don't.
That is a cult.
It's just a cult. Like
So let's talk about.
To sugarcoat it. It's a cult.
Let's-
Y'all see other cults just because they're not making them drink poisonous Kool-Aid. Don't mean it's not a cult.
Ah, Lord.
I'm just saying. It don't mean it's not a cult.
I have a
You're
question.
taking their money.
How much does it cost to preach the word of God?
You could preach in somebody. We could preach outside in your parking lot right now for free.
So what is it? What do you have to get a degree to be a pastor for?
You're very stuck on a degree.
Yeah, word, word.
Because it's like it's logic to me.
Right.
If,
I mean,
if
I've
you're
never-
preaching the word of God, you could read a Bible on any corner in any house, anywhere, and preach the word of God. So what is the purpose behind going to church to get a degree to preach?
I've never had a pastor who went to school.
I
so
I have. They go to ministry school, like a Montessori. I think it's Montessori.
Monasteries because they learn from other pastors.
Right.
That's different than going to like
Yeah, that's
a university to get your, because there are some schools.
They have them though.
Yeah, they have schools where you can get your, masters in the
Definitely.
Bible and Bible
Definitely.
history and stuff like that, which I understand to a degree if you take a class or two, because
Right.
you really want to get in-depth
Correct.
historian version of the Bible.
Correct.
But if you're like getting a whole degree, that's kind of wild. Like, you could literally just do like a month at a church with like an older pastor for the same thing if you really want it that bad.
Correct. But my question is, how does somebody teach you the Bible? That's my question.
Right. I don't.
How can you teach somebody the Bible? Because at the end of the day, the Bible is how you perceive it to be.
Correct.
So I don't.
So you're just
Your interpretation.
If I teach you the Bible, I'm teaching you my interpretation of the Bible.
And then what you read might be different from my interpretation. So how can I rely on your definition? So what makes your definition, what's the word, correct and mine incorrect?
I know in reference to like those classes, the only thing I know is I've seen classes more or less on like the historical part. So they'll like learn about like BCE and like other stuff.
Right,
like that.
right.
Like the historical
Right.
surrounding the Bible, but I don't really know about like
There is.
how people sit down and they're just like, all right, this is what. Y'all ever see those videos of those kids who like preach? There was a show. This is like way back. I think probably like in the 90s. And sis it was Oprah. It was an Oprah episode. And Oprah was asking this little boy who pretty much is a preacher or whatever. And she's like, do you know what you're preaching? And he's like, well, yeah. And she's like, okay, well, preach for us right now. So the little boy starts preaching, he big shout. And his father is a pastor, by the way, also. And then Oprah's sister, she's like, okay, so now tell me what you just said. And the little boy stands there for a second. He's stuck. And he said, pretty much just preaches again the exact same thing he said.
Right.
And she was like, no, but like, what does that mean to you? What is your interpretation of what that is? And he's just stuck. He's stuck. And it just made me think, like, yo, like,
He's not a pastor. He's repeating daddy.
he's repeating, like, and this is, I can understand.
He's
like,
been
some people
trained.
Just, like, literally grab it and they just push it down to the next generation because they need that money to stay in their family. They need that acclaim to stay in their family.
This is what we're talking. This is why I said let's talk about TD Jakes, because now his daughter has taken over the throne, right? He's still preaching, but now his daughter's taken over the throne. So all you're doing is just keeping the money in house, right?
Much, yeah.
But like again, the flashy cars, the flashy houses. I think there's a show. It's not Family Business. There's a Tyler Perry show.
Of course there is. Sorry. I'm sorry. We could get into how I don't like Tyler Perry, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah, no, that's a different show.
Yeah, that's a different.
But there's a show that shows like these churches and what they do and how they live, and it's like, okay, fine, Joel Osteen is not for us, right?
Right.
TD Jakes is for us. Why aren't you out there? Why?
What makes him for us?
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Because it's for
So-
the Negro race.
I don't necessarily mean like, you know.
Netflix, I don't know if y'all gonna ever see this, but I need y'all to realize how much I'm digging up the fort. Anyway, you can tell a person by how they maintain themselves.
Right.
And the Ford, the CEO of the business,
Correct.
was hiring people to just work in the warehouse. Not no big manager, not no big. He knew all his employees. He made sure all his employees was good. He looked out for his employees. At no point in time, T.D. Jakes, not only is he a pastor, he's a successful artist. You feel me? So he makes money. So I'm not going to question him as far as what he has, because he makes money outside of just the church. Even
Absolutely.
Even
That's
though it's
true.
gospel music, he makes money. My frustration with in any Bible, in any version of the Bible, every man is there for the person. Every man supports. Every man shows love. How can you be so high up as a pastor of so many people,
Right.
and be so okay with so many people being that far under you?
Right.
I'm not saying you can't live a good life, but come on.
It's weird.
Come on. You got people that's really going through the dirt, that's supporting you.
That's rocking with you. Yeah, hard
They're
body.
living like a king.
And what's
It doesn't
crazy?
make sense to me.
And that's why all this controversial shit is coming out with him and Diddy.
People use the
it doesn't
guise
make
of
sense.
religion for power.
Yes,
That's
that's
all it
it.
is.
That's all it is.
All it
Power.
is.
If they can't get it politically, they'll make sure they get it religiously.
Yeah.
All it is.
Historically, the church was in control of the government.
Yes,
The reason why
absolutely.
The U.S. was made is because the church was in charge of the government.
Yes,
over
yes,
there.
yes.
That's the reason why the U.S.
Yes.
was made. So when people are looking for power, they look for religion because they know they can control the politicians.
Indeed.
They know they can control the world if they just have
Indeed.
that. That's why these people go to power, if we're going to be
Indeed.
real. Real pastors, listen, I've had a few run-ins with some pastors that I've actually really enjoyed. And they'll have a small church, they'll have their small
That's
group.
the only one.
They will
That is the only
they
one.
will sit up with you
In a little shack.
if you are going through a hard time, they'll tell you, matter of fact, I'll meet you at the church right now. It's
Right.
3 a.m. Let's pray together.
Yep.
Let's do something
Yep.
together. Let me find out how I can help you. Let me see
Yeah.
if I can find outlets.
Resources.
Let's get
Yeah.
resources. I will get some of my money and help you.
Yes.
That's the point.
That's like, but how often does that happen realistically?
And that's
Nowadays, right? Nowadays, it doesn't. It very rarely happens.
People are turned off from religion.
Correct.
If you could be a pastor of a mega church, you're not a real pastor.
No, yeah, no.
That's how
I mean,
I see it.
period, point blank. That's how
Because
it is.
Yeah.
I've seen pastors of smaller churches fill up tanks,
Mm-hmm.
pay mortgage out their pocket.
Yep.
I've seen
Yep.
pastors be school buses picking up kids from football practices.
Yeah.
Like there's pastors out there that's really just there.
And that's why I said not all pastors are bad.
So I'm not gonna say all, but these.
No,
these
not
But-
all.
yeah,
Not all.
yeah.
You'll always, within all these, regardless of who it is, there's whatever party it is.
Yeah.
You're always going to have a small select few who are the ones who are doing things as, just outstanding, being great people, literally just being
Human, having empathy for another human. Yeah.
being a good, it's not
Yes.
hard. It's not hard to
Not
be
all.
empathy. It's free. You don't even have can
But-
get empathy for free.
Empathy is not what people follow.
No.
This is what I'm saying. If you can get so much people to follow you, you're not living in faith.
But you know, too, with those mega pastors, these people, meaning the congregation, is looking at them flashy dashy and is like, oh, that's God blessing them,
Yeah, some
right?
people see that as
So that's why they follow some of these pastors too, because it's like,
I'm sorry, you're Delulu.
yeah, you
Hey.
drive and you conducting the Delulu train.
And you're
That's
Delulu.
what
The
it is.
reason why they're like that is because
That's-
You are paying for it.
That's what it is.
you're paying for it.
But-
God didn't bless
but
them, you blessed
what
them.
the problem is the generation that caused that. When something good happens,
Right.
Thank God. I'm not saying God has nothing to do with it, but we've been blindsided to where we thank God for everything good and everything bad is our fault.
Yeah.
At what point in time do we realize God is faith? God is faith. Yes, but nothing will God do without physical work from us.
Correct.
Okay? You could be the most faithful person in the world. If you sit at home and you don't go to work, guess what? You're not going to live in no fancy house. You're not going to live
Correct.
in no nice house. If you don't have a job and you don't go to work, I don't care how much you pray, you're not going to drive a nice car. No matter how much you pray, you're not going to get food in your stomach. Prayer assists work. But we've taken the work out and just started shoving faith in people's mouths.
Yeah.
People will go
So now
ahead-
people just, God got me.
People
God
will
gonna
be
make a
like,
way.
people will be like, oh yeah, I've been praying for a new job, and then like an opportunity will come out with
Thank
someone
God.
who's like, I'll hire you, and then they're like, nah, I don't want that job.
Right. Girl.
God got me.
Girl, that's what I'm talking about. I thought you didn't you just ask God?
Right.
This is why God be getting so mad at y'all. This is why you'll be getting all these.
So, all right.
Because he like, you don't want to listen to me.
I am so glad you said that. I had to learn that, right? Because I prayed for certain things, right? And those things came to pass.
You can't be picky with your prayers.
But not only that, you also have to be disciplined to know that when you get those things, you have to actually pray to learn how to keep those things. But also, like I always say, I serve a jealous God, right? That's what they say, right? Well, that's what the Bible says. So it's like, okay, I prayed for it, I got it, and now I forgot where supposedly I prayed it for, like where it came from. Yes, I agree with you. We do need to put the work in as well.
Absolutely.
We can't rely on just our faith to get us to that
I
point.
believe that God is actually the type to be like, matter of fact, I want you to work for it because that's what I.
You'll appreciate it. Yeah.
I think a lot of people kind of overthink this life thing, man. For real, God just wants us to be human. Like God wants us to feel
That's
pain.
it.
God wants us to cry. God
That's
wants us
it.
to do that because we're supposed to feel human.
You know what I mean?
That's what makes us human. The fact that we can feel those emotions.
People take away humanity with faith.
Right.
They do.
Right.
Take away humanity.
Right.
Because I grew up with that. Like, for instance, my counselor, he told me the other day, he was like,
I need you to charge him double because he's actually grown a lot.
Listen, because I know personally the person I am today is because of him. Because I've changed. Because I've never had somebody to say, as a man, hey, good job. I'm proud of you. I see you working. I don't get that. And as a man, we don't get that. We're just supposed to do. We don't get the round of applause. We don't, as men, we don't get none of that. So all I'm saying is, if you have faith, have faith. If you believe in God, but don't judge other people because they don't believe
They don't believe the same. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we're all human. You know what I mean? Yes, the Bible might say you shouldn't do this. The Bible might say you shouldn't do that. But as humans, we make mistakes. As humans, we have flaws. As humans, this has nothing to do with faith. We can be the most faithful person on earth, but we still make mistakes. But we take away mistakes in humanity, and
But then, like, okay, for me, I always say I'm a work in progress.
right.
And God knows what he made, right? So if he made me in his perfect image, he already knows that I'm going to mess up. He knows exactly where I'm going to mess up, right? For me, that's why he's there. It's a guide. But he's not saying you're not going to make mistakes. He's not saying you're not going to fall and bust your head open a couple of times before you learn. Like for me, in my prayers, I thank God for the good, bad, and the ugly, right? Because he doesn't want you to not be a human, like you said, right? But also, that's who makes you you. You're good, you're bad, and you're ugly is what makes you you. So he made us in his perfect image, no matter our flaws, no matter our you know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm the exact same. You know something really crazy too, because recently, or before, I was supposed to, as you guys know, I was supposed to leave to my destination.
correct.
During this time period.
Correct.
And
Glad you didn't, but you know.
you know something crazy too, right? Literally, I was praying. I was like, "Listen, God, let me go when I need to go." Some like my paperwork that my school, of course, they fucking procrastinated, but I couldn't get my paperwork in time to go for a certain semester, and also I was like, I wanted to push it back anyway.
But that was God.
But guess what happened? They over here fighting their president.
Correct.
They over here getting impeached and this and that. I avoided that situation, and I was upset about it for a little bit because I was like, "Oh man, I really don't want to push it back." But so I was like, "Okay, you know what? I'm gonna just Jesus take the wheel."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then a month later, the whole thing comes out, and they over here literally president barricaded himself in their White House.
But that's what I say. Everything happens for a reason.
That's crazy. And I'm just
It's-
like, you know what? I was mad. I was like, yeah, you know what? Listen, I had beef with you for a little bit, but you know what? I get it, and I know why you made me fail in that moment. And I understand it was for my own good.
Yeah.
Granted, I feel like everybody has those moments where, like, oh, you forgot your phone, and that could have saved your life pretty much. Like,
Right,
you got
right.
it for a second, and
It's like
phone crashed
it's
outside.
what is it like divine intervention?
Right. It's just like it feels like divine intervention.
Correct.
But I didn't want to say, because since we were talking about pastors and how hypocritical. Sorry, y'all heard that? Okay.
Do you have a kid? You need to have a. Okay.
Hypocritical, right? Pastors being hypocritical. I watched a podcast, one of my favorite podcasts. It's called Rotten Mango. So
I've heard of it.
So I love it. She talks about true crime. One of the cases that she talked about, lo and behold, guess who the dude was, or the main suspect? It was a pastor. It was a pastor.
It always is though.
And literally, just watching it is insane to me because he was pretty much abusing his wife. He was abusing his wife, and it was like to some crazy narcissistic, like extent. Like this man would be like telling her like she wanted to divorce, she wanted to separate, she went to go stay with her sister. This man went to her sister's house and dragged her out the house, and was beating on her, beating on their kids, da da da. Eventually, the lady she was found dead. She was found dead. So obviously all of her family was like, bro, it was obviously him.
Right.
So the girl, her name is Stephanie So, the host of the podcast, she was showing clips from some of his sermons. And when I tell you how insane, like literally, this man, the day after he beat his wife, goes up on the stage and he's like, women need to make sure they obey their husbands. Because if they just go around, doing things, as your husband, I'm your leader. You're supposed to follow me. Besides God, I'm who you are. Pretty much going on this whole narcissistic tirade. Even people in the church were feeling uncomfortable, and you see some of them get up and leave during the service because they're just like, bro, what are you getting at right now? Like, this is not you. And it's just crazy because it's just like, yo, it makes me think how many pastors get up on that stage
After done beating their wife ass the night before.
not even beating their wives, just, I don't know, talking shit to homeless people, doing this, treating people like shit. They do all this stuff, and they come up on that stage, and they try to teach
They
the Bible
portray.
to fit their
Yes.
prerogative.
Yep.
I'm gonna say something. Well, I normally get cussed out anyway.
That's okay. We do it every
I
day.
feel like faith has become so big because of lack of accountability. And the reason why I say this is because I feel like we're making faith and life way too difficult. I feel like at the end of the day, we're humans. We're supposed to live life,
It's simple.
and God is there. You know what I mean? We know what's right. We know what's wrong. We know how to treat people. We know how to live. You know what I mean? You live your life, and then when you go, there might be a judgment day. There might not be a judgment day.
Right.
But we all know how to be decent, how to be loving, how to show appreciation, how to support one another. We all know how to do these things. We're just putting way too much on it because at the end of the day, whether you're an atheist or you believe in God, you still have to lead your life. You still have to make decisions. You still have to want things. God can only lead you.
Correct.
And you can ask him to lead you and ask for forgiveness if you're lost. Other than that, it's on you. You just put too much on it.
It's the same thing like you lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. It's kind of the same mindset.
To be accountable for
No,
things. They don't.
at all.
That's why so many people, when they do something crap, oh, the devil made me do it.
Yeah, yeah.
You got somebody-
You did it.
No, you're just an asshole.
Yeah, it's
You're
like-
just a bad person.
Nah.
Stop saying
Nah.
that. Devil didn't make you do it.
That's
The devil don't make you do things.
We got somebody to blame now.
That's all it is. And it's not yourself. That's all it is.
Put the blame on somebody else.
That's all it is.
If you ain't make it yet, God ain't doing it yet. It's crazy. It's just crazy to me how people just. Let me ask y'all a question, right? Because
Yeah.
this is a little different than. How do y'all feel about voodoo? Black magic.
Okay. Let's talk about it.
I'm curious.
Cause let's talk about
Go
it.
ahead. You go
I'm
ahead.
curious. How do y'all feel about like
So
that kind of stuff?
I respect it because just like I feel everybody should respect Christianity, just like I feel everybody should respect Islam, whatever, I respect it because it's a valid religion for some people. It's what they do. I believe that shit is real.
It is.
We're West Indian. I think we
It
all
very
have
much so
seen
is.
some type of even if it's a result of somebody obia or whatever, we've seen somebody interact with that in some way, shape, or form. So I absolutely believe it.
So I've learned a new respect for it.
Go ahead. Uh-huh.
I'm afraid, but anyway, growing up, obviously, you hear the word obia, and being in a West Indian household is like, oh my God, that's, devil work, blah, blah, blah. I have a few friends who they don't do it for the negative that people think they equate obia with, right? Oh, y'all putting spells on people, or y'all killing people, hurting people, y'all sacrificing chickens and things like that. I've learned the education behind it. It is a religion, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's for a bad cause.
Just because I don't rock with it, don't mean I gotta.
I do have a newfound respect for it because now I am more educated, being that I have it in my circle. We talk about it, right? So I'm no longer closed-minded towards what it is.
Okay, so let me rephrase my question. 'Cause
Okay.
I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about black magic. People like voodoo that's sticking dolls. and
For the bad or for the good, because there's
For
two.
both. Putting spells on you.
Because I'm saying but those that's
Religion.
usually based in a
Okay.
religion. That's
Yes.
It's based in a religion.
So y'all believe in that? Is what y'all saying?
Yes. If
Do I
you're
believe
asking,
if, like magic and stuff like that, and the shit that do I believe
Yes.
the effects of that are real?
yes.
Yeah, like
Yes.
I've seen it real
I
time,
have
and
too.
It's fucking terrifying. And
I have
that's
too.
actually what probably made me run back to the church. I'm not gonna hold you because it's scary as fuck.
What you got to say?
I can tell you.
I know he's stewing. He's stewing.
That's okay.
You entitled to your opinion.
right.
Okay. Talk to the people.
Okay, so living life, I've learned a lot of things.
Dangerously. Oh,
A lot of things are coincidental, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like
coinkadink.
faith has caused a lot of coincidental things to cause people to have faith. And the reason why I say that, because me being from a Caribbean family, I have definitely been in places where, you know what I mean? I have seen things where, But now as a grown man, it's like, let's just think logically, right? If you had the capability to talk to spirits, whether it be good, whether it be bad, if you had the capability of making things happen, whether it be good, whether it be bad, wouldn't you do good for yourself?
Yeah.
At least?
Yeah, I've seen people do good for themselves all the time with it.
Right, but I've seen a lot of people that don't do it.
But-
And I've seen people do things purposely, like doing shit to get money and like I've
Yeah.
seen people do more stuff like that. I
I've-
haven't really
I've seen
seen people who
I don't think people.
I think
Okay,
it depends
so
on what you use it for.
right, and I also think that they are also prophets, right? So it may not necessarily mean that they're doing it for self. Like they might be doing it as help for others and can't do things for self. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it depends on because I know a lot of those religions sometimes they have hierarchies, sometimes it
Yeah.
depends on who does what and what does. So it's very, very.
Like you have godfathers and stuff in certain practices.
You definitely do. But this is just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I personally don't believe man has the capability to make spirits or make anything outside of humanity do anything.
Oh, I've seen things.
I hear you. I've seen things too, but again,
absolutely.
I see things as coincidental. Like I've seen people come to church. I've seen people come to the hospital.
No, no, no. I mean, like
Go
I've seen
because-
ghosts, like legit.
I hear you. I'm not. If you've seen it,
I have.
I hear you.
I'm about to say, because I've had a very bad experience. We had to have like a pastor come like do our house.
Like-
We had a whole demon in the house. We had
It's real. Spirits are real, bro.
to back. It was
Listen,
terrifying.
listen. See, y'all are taking. I never said spirits are not real. What I said was man can't make spirit do or not do.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
That's
I
what
agree with
I'm
you.
saying.
I agree
And
with you.
a lot of people make it seem like they can do this or do that,
Like
and
sick 'em.
and that's absurd to me.
No, so the people that I know who have practiced in any of that, they always tell me that they never can control. They're not one to control. They make deals. They trade something for them.
Yes.
To make a deal
Yes.
with whatever spirit it is.
Yes.
They do deals.
Yes, they do.
Because they don't have. They're human.
Hence why they say use.
Whoever is gonna tell them.
Again, I don't believe man could make a deal, could tell, could make a negotiation. I don't feel like man can do that with spirit.
You're entitled to your opinion.
Not to say I don't believe there's evil spirits or there's good spirits. Not to say that I don't believe evil spirits can come after people or good spirits. I believe in spirits.
Yeah.
However, I believe spirits happen because spirits happen coincidentally. Now, yes, there might be people that say, hey, such and such might happen, and then such and such happen, and oh my God, he's a... But me personally, I feel like a lot of this stuff is coincidental.
You're entitled to you're entitled to that.
I agree. I know.
That's what I'm saying, and I respect that.
I respect your opinion, but
Listen,
I know otherwise.
Yeah,
You're right.
personally.
Because
Me too.
I-
Because also, what I've seen doesn't mean that everybody's seen what I see.
Correct.
Doesn't mean that everybody has felt what I felt. No one was in the situation that I've been into.
Again, we're talking about religion and different your interpretations of things, right? So you might have you do have a different interpretation as to me, as to Mira,
But also, even
right?
people within that whole I do magic, da da da.
Yeah.
da, There's different religions in that.
Absolutely.
Like people who are Wiccan, which is completely
Yes,
you got
yes,
Black magic.
yes,
Those are all
yes.
things, so they hold each other
Yes.
to standards. So some of them are even looking at each other just like, you can't do that. Like,
Facts.
you- like
Yes.
some of them, I mean, it's just really just.
Facts.
It's like just like how people can interpret the Bible differently. They interpret their own text.
Facts.
Right,
They
right.
interpret
like,
their
like the
words.
psychic across the street.
Listen,
Yeah, those are kind of
they interpret
questionable to me. They're questionable to
I
me.
think we already know about like them psychics and TV. Stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Miss Cleo, call me now. Okay, so I
Stuff alone though, she had bread.
she did have bread
Now she kind of ate that scam. Like,
for a long time. But okay, so like me, I have
No.
I have spiritualists, right? That I've seen things happen, and not in a. I'm not going. Somebody asked me that today. You gonna put voodoo on me? Nah, for what? I believe in karma. What I'm gonna do to you is gonna come back to me tenfold. No, thank you. Like, why would I do that? But I have seen things happen where it's like, like, okay, I got you. I also have spiritualists that, whether you believe it or not, that's on you, that actually do speak to the dead. I get visits, and I don't need nobody else to tell me that. I smell certain things, like I'm very in tune in my spirituality. I smell when my visitors come. Animals and children will tell on you.
yeah, that's always something that they say. Animals and
Always.
talk about-
I know if there's a good spirit in my house or if there's a bad one. Because my little one, she'll lose her shit if it's a bad spirit.
Girl, ain't no spirits in my house the way we be smoking it out.
Y'all don't realize this is stuff that's been passed on from generation.
Yes.
I mean,
Kids
obviously.
Yes, absolutely.
Just stuff
Everything's
that
been passed on. from generation.
Exactly.
So-
Passed on.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's all just faith. You're just
Yeah.
you're assuming that if a child acts a certain way, it's because I'm not saying you're wrong. But all I'm saying is like it's just coincidental stuff to me. That's how I see it.
Again, your opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like for me, like I know the difference between something that's coincidental,
Yes.
and I can tell when something's very coincidental. It was like, damn, that's just crazy.
Right,
Like, I'll
right.
always be like, damn, that's cool. But I know when something, well, at least when I feel that something is very,
I thought I was
very, very obvious, very
Yes, very like in a spiritual type of way.
going to happen.
Yes.
Someone wanted
Yes.
to happen,
And
like, ladies cutting gold blood and ting and ting.
Whoa, whoa, and chicken, cut off chicken head and rabbit foot and.
The whole thing.
But see, like I also feel things, and I also get dreams, and I've always been like this. And I think, for me, I think it came from my like it's been passed down from generation to generation, right?
Like realistically, like
We're all spiritual in our own
between
sense.
people, they all have something.
Yo.
It doesn't even need to be. You don't even need to like all that black magic.
No.
Anything, you can sit there. They'll say
Yeah.
something stupid like, "Oh yeah, beat a man with a saltfish tail and he'll get good luck." Like that's
Whoa.
like they superstitions. But I'm saying
Yeah.
like, West City, like Caribbean people have crazy.
I'm not arguing that fact.
Or if you sweep the bottom of my foot, I won't get married.
Right, like the superstitions.
I
of
mean,
black are crazy.
at this point.
they're just crazy to me.
They are, but like,
And the craziest part is that you pick and choose which one
Right,
you're
wait.
gonna say is bullshit.
Hey, I said we
Like-
try it all.
Like,
listen,
We try it all.
I don't skip. I never heard that though.
Beat someone with a saltfish tail. They say because they say if someone have Obiana,
Uh-huh.
you need to beat them with a saltfish tail and it'll come out.
Well, see, for me, I feel not. I feel I know that people have been trying to come after me. Even this. Remember that I had a red one and a black one. The red one shredded the other night. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm about to say y'all know this is gone.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
The red one
Yeah.
came off the first night. The other one came off.
So I did not. Maybe I did know, but I didn't realize it. But it was confirmed that anytime you have an evil eye bracelet, ornament, anything on your wall, and it breaks, it did its job,
Yeah, did its job.
right? So for me, I know people. I know people are trying. You can't touch me, but I do what I have to do to protect my house, right? Like it's not no voodoo type shit, but I got my salt and my lemons by the door.
She said I got my lemons.
again, baby, look.
I got my limes in the
I
salt
have no
in a bowl.
problem with nobody's faith. All I'm saying is that we just have to understand that's all it is.
It's faith.
So if you have lime and salt, there's nothing wrong with you doing that, as long as that's your faith and you understand that.
Yeah.
My problem is when motherfuckers be like, "Hey, you don't got no lime and salt in your house? You crazy."
Oh, yeah.
No, nah.
They're, like pretty much just looking at you
Like-
what? You need to do this.
Like-
It's the same energy. You're pushing it on the
Exactly. I do what
That's my problem.
I do what's best for me. I don't expect it.
That's
I
what
don't.
My problem is like your faith is your independent faith. That's what you believe in.
I've gone to people's houses where they have like shrines of like their ancestors, and they, have the glasses of water and rose.
I've been at all. People smoke out their house.
Yeah, I smoke out my house all the
All
time.
kind of stuff.
Dated
Motherfuckers smoke out-
somebody.
I do it. You feel me?
I've dated somebody to where I come in their house and they have incense.
Yes.
A whole
Yes.
shrine,
Yeah.
incense,
Yes.
this,
Yes.
that. And like that's just
That's their religion. That's their belief.
culture.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm like, pray that eats because like if I'm dead, I hope someone got a fire ass picture of me laying next to some goddamn oranges in my face.
Per that eats. Okay.
Because it's just like I need a picture of me like posed up, even as an old lady. I don't care.
Ma'am.
Posed up in a bikini.
Ma'am, that can't be put on an altar, bro.
Favorite food right next to it and some fire incense.
Go ahead. Just we ain't see that. We ain't see that. Just
That's how passionate I am.
Uh-huh.
I
Fling that
need to be fire. Put a daiquiri there every day. Put a goddamn daiquiri there every single day.
I love you, but you ain't gonna every
As a dead person, I don't care. If I was a dead old lady, I'm gonna look back. I'm gonna come back as a spirit and be like, yeah. This
I'm not putting no shrine to you.
No.
Nowhere.
Put some shrines up for me.
Wow, your children better do that, because it ain't gonna be
My
us.
kids gonna be doing that because put some shrines up for me, and I'm gonna come back and be like, yeah, and it need to be like bad bitchified. Like I need like zebra print and hot pink everywhere.
What kind of shrine your backside want?
I want it to be fire.
Okay, yeah. So
On that note, I think we gonna close on that note, because that just went completely left around the corner down the block. like, wow. So,
Make long story short, respect people's religion, but don't push your religion onto other people.
don't force feed. Don't force feed. Yeah.
From the
don't
situation.
judge them either.
Don't
No.
judge people for what they do. And if you are a Christian, stop judging people in general. That's against your religion. Read the Bible again.
All religions is against the judge.
I'm about to say, yeah, all religions is
All
pretty much
religions is against
all
the judge.
religions
But
are
the
about
craziest
love.
part is all religions judge you if you not what they religion.
What? Ain't that but a
Want love and peace.
and harmony, love, peace, and hair
Love,
grease.
harmony.
All right, see,
Remember
so
that people
listen.
are people and humans are humans.
I'm gonna rephrase this. All humans.
Humans. All humans.
You know what? It's time to go, y'all. It's been fun.
He's trying to close out. It's been real, y'all. It's your girl Empress Davy alongside.
What's my yeah.
Wow, we just screwed his whole brain.
Oh, wow.
Wow. It's been real, y'all. Make sure you check us out on YouTube.
I still love y'all Christians. That
Nah, slide in them DMs. We want those respectfully. Respectfully. Cause don't come out of pocket, cause we not about
Come
that.
out of pocket, we screenshotting it and sending it to your Christian mamas and your pastor.
Wow.
voodoo doll.
and to your local
Your local bruja, okay?
local bruja.
Your local bruja.
Yeah, we coming.
So
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, don't stab nothing from. I'll just. Don't
Don't worry, we got live insult for you.
well, actually, if y'all want to help out, make sure that that pin doll got a new kidney, right? Cause yeah, at least do it for some
If you're gonna
good.
do some obia, make that obia get us more views. Go ahead and share all of our
Go ahead and like, share, subscribe, all social medias. TikTok.
What is going on here?
TikTok is back, y'all. So come on, like run it up, run it up, run it up, yo,
Sorry.
run it back. So
Forge, go watch it.
yeah, for real, Netflix, you did your thing when you did The Forge. I'm about to go home and watch it. Anyway, yeah. So it's been real, y'all. We out.
Hey.